All right, so I think we can start now. We are 9:05, and the few thing I wanted to touch base is today, right? And Rovina, sorry, Divya is here? No, she's not here right now. Okay, she had asked something on the CRM, and Pravina, you had also some question on CRM. So, what's the context regarding CRM?
Actually, I don't know about anything. Just it's a tool for customer relationship management. That's what I know. So I would like to know more about that.
Okay,
Actually, for what purpose it use and
okay.
how do you use? Yeah.
So, do you guys heard about the Joho? Anybody?
What?
Joho. You guys can see my screen, right?
No, no, no. Yeah.
You have not heard. Ankit, you?
No.
Okay. So Joho is the kind of the it's growing very fast. It's India-based company and South India, Tamil Nadu or somewhere. And the good part of this company is that this is also a big CRM. And the biggest name in the CRM, you all know the Salesforce. You must have heard about the Salesforce, right? So a
Right.
lot more company use the Salesforce. And even if you, there are so many companies out there on CRM things. Salesforce is there. That's the biggest name. And if you do before that, SAP, SAP was the first kind of the known for the enterprise CRM tool, right? So SAP is the CRM tool. Salesforce is the CRM tool, and they are company also. Joho is a company that's primarily on the CRM, and there are hundreds of new CRM companies that starts every time, right? And they works. So we'll give some time once Divya had also same question. So we'll cover all together, right? But so yeah, I was saying about the Joho, like 10, 15 year back, see Sridhar is the founder and CEO. It's a big company. It's in Chennai, right? And if you see like it's a billion-dollar company. Even the what is good part of the Joho, like a lot of their customer are in Gulf country, Asia Pac, and Europe and US also. But their entire development team, entire center is Chennai, and not only Chennai, is far from Chennai in a village, right? So they are educating students, right, from 10th standard onwards. They are training them on the technical things, and the same students are working in a Joho company. And this guy has thought this thing 10, 15 year back. Nowadays, work from home is common and moving the things. But he decided like the day one, India would be the center. And I mean, every outsourcing is happening in India, but happening in a Bangalore, right? In a Chennai, in a big city, right? But his entire focus in the remote village, and he has set up a big, massive learning development center, and a lot more students, rural students, are working on this. It's a very fast growing CRM tools, right? So that's why I mean, he got the Padma Shri also or something. So it's a very unique use case in terms of the CRM. A lot of the people get inspiration from Sridhar. I mean, I'm also one of them, right? And my brother is in Miami, Florida. He runs the company Big Binary. So he is also very much inspired with, yeah, Joho. Yeah. So these guys are specialized in the mobile application development, totally different stream. So a lot more interesting thing is happening. Divya, you are here. So what you had a question on Joe? Sorry, Joe. What you had question on the CRM? What you wanted to know? Like, what's the context of that CRM question?
CRM is like in the job. If you, uh,
Divya, your voice is
honestly, I
breaking.
really don't have much idea about
Yeah.
CRM other than
Okay.
it's a customer
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So I think the basic understanding of the CRM, because might be You hear this word many times, right? So you can call it the CRM as a package service, right? And what is meant by the package service? Like every industry, like if you are a real estater, right? You know that the how you handle that HR department, you know how the things works. Kind of the every industry has a certain way, certain domains, and certain things to work it out. So if you start developing a software from a scratch, it's going to take forever, right? And every company need HR, right? So does it mean like every company need to develop HR software? No, right? So that's where CRM comes in a picture. Like is hello, hey Divya.
Hello, Madhukar. Sorry, I just got disconnected and just now I joined one. Can you please start from the beginning?
Okay, no problem. So I'll just repeat. I think you have not missed a lot, right?
Mhm.
So, but we were talking about the CRM tools. So why the CRM tools are popular and why is needed? Very first, we need to understand that part, right? So
Yes.
so every industry, right? Every industry has certain way to work, right? Like the HR system has the process to post the job description, accept the your candidate details, and manage your salary and all those things. A lot more things, right? Everything related to the HR. When you go to sales and marketing, there are different way for the sales and marketing, right? Primarily, it started with the sales and marketing, right? That's where it comes like the customer relation management, right? CRM, or but it's extended for all domain, all industry. So what this software company thought about, instead of creating a software for a specific, right, any particular company based on the need, why not we can create a package solution, a very generic thing. Think in this way, like a you remember like a long time back, we do the tailoring. We also now also we do the tailoring. Like the you go to the tailor, and tailor will measure you and then stitch your dress, right? So that's 100% custom made. But when you go to the supermarket and you buy a T-shirt, you just see the size, right? And how they decided might be this not perfect fit, but that works, right? Because 99% is fast. You do not need to wait for the stitching. It's not expensive, right? So that's why you go for the ready-made cloth. Same thing is here. If you start, I'm a company, I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate company, and if I need a software to manage my real estate portfolio, and if I start development from scratch, it will cost millions of dollars, right? So instead of that, I can use the package services, just like I said, the ready-made cloth, and it will give me everything that I need for the real estate. If I'm going to use the CRM tools that is for HR solutions, so as you see here, there are different industry-wise, they have customized these packages, right? So how they are able to do that? Because they have also built the configurable solution, right? So like every system need a member's detail, right? Name, email address, and date of birth. So that way, this company has built the modules that can be configured based on your name and your need. Like you see here, this is the same software that Joho is running, but it is customizable, right? So you can customize this software for retail, insurance, non-profit, real estate, financial services, right? So that's more about the CRM. And they charge you by user, like how many users are using these services, they will charge the cost of that. Top players are Salesforce is the most popular player. They have a CRM packs also similar to that. As per the industry, you can pick your solution. SAP is most popular CRM tool, right? That's also have the similar thing. And Yoho definitely is an India-based company that have the different products. And once it's come, like there are other products comes in a picture, right? So that's the more about the CRM. It's a package solution specific to industry that can be customizable. And when you need to customize, you can consider CRM tools also as a low code, right? Or no code, because most of the things is just you need to customize. You do not need to develop from scratch, right? You do not need to be expert in a any language or .NET and all, they have their own language way how to customize the package, how to work on that. So this is little bit kind of this is all about CRM, right?
One question, Madhukar.
Yes, please.
Low code means like the person who is using, the user has to know the limited coding abilities to code in SQL or something to proceed and go
Yeah,
forward. Is
so
that
the low, see, you know the programmers, right? Programmers are the guys who are expert in the languages, right? And they do the programming using the language like the C Sharp, C++, or .NET, JavaScript, and all that, right? So those are main programming language. If I need to generate this page, they are using HTML, right? So you need to know the HTML language, right? Uh, but the low code, as you said, the name low code started like uh, without writing a code or just one line of the code will let you do the work, right? So you do not need to write everything from scratch. You do not need to write the code or language or SQL or anything. Like in a Power BI, you saw that we don't know Python, we don't know SQL. Just by drag and drop and just one line of the code, and your data was clean, right? So Power BI is a low code software. Python is your programming language. Is it clear now?
And yes, it's
No?
clear. And I have one more question.
Okay.
How come CRM tool is very much in connected with the data analyst? As a data analyst, how much I should know about the CRM tool? What is my work
Hmm.
and how I will handle it in my day-to-day activities?
Okay. So this is a good question, right? So you know that as a data analyst, primarily you're going to work on the data, right? But somewhere data is generated, right? So what is that somewhere? Like company is using that software. Like in this example, if I'm using CRM for insurance, so these are the insurance product. So some company XYZ is using Joho CRM insurance. So where they are creating their policy, their claim and everything, right? So this is the first level of the interaction that end user is doing, and that's the system that is generating the data, right? So as an analyst, your role is just to how to connect that data, and then when just you need to how to connect the data. That's it, right? Because once you are able to connect the data, whether it's a CRM system, whether it's a database, whether it's a flat file, whether it's a website, you are done, right? We saw yesterday, right? We connected with the CSV file, we connected with the website, and once the data is imported into Power BI, then you can do your cleaning, you can do your reporting, everything is same, right? So like if you are if you're working for any insurance company, then if you're knowing the domain knowledge is always helpful, right? But technical knowledge, you do not need to be expert on the CRM, you do not need to be expert on the Salesforce, you do not need to be expert on the SAP. What you need to know how to connect the Salesforce data, and once you connect, what kind of the data will be returned and how it look like, how to connect with the SAP, how to connect with the Joho, and those kind of. Primarily, you need to just know how to connect the data source, whatever your data source is there, and then rest of all your territory, you know that how to clean the data and process the data. So I don't expect more than that. As an analyst, you need to know.
So everyone, as a data analyst, everyone that in their everyday activities, they will use any one of the CRM tool. As like we are working on the SQL server. I mean, like some servers, like in cloud, everything is kind of mandatory nowadays. So as well as cloud and server, the CRM is also mandatory. It's kind of everyone is using
That's
nowadays.
true. That's true, right? And Provina has worked on the GCP and other company, and they don't use the CRM. Like I have worked 15 years, and one time I had used just a Salesforce, and that I was using as a Salesforce developer, not as a data analyst, right? So in 15 years, I have never connected, right? But CRM is getting popular. So like it's depend on that. If your company is using CRM, there is a Microsoft Dynamics also. Microsoft Dynamics is also CRM tool, right? So if your company is using Microsoft Dynamics or any CRM tool, then definitely you need to connect that. But again, as I said, and you said it rightly, like a lot of the company now, every company using one CRM or other, like the Workday, they are using for the salary processing, right? So if your HR team is asking like, give me the how many employee has been joined in last 6 months and how many employees has left the company, right? Some metrics is provided by these tool also, right? But might be in your enterprise system, if you need to manage that, then you need to connect your data source with the whatever the tool you're using. Like you need to connect the Workday, you need to connect the Salesforce, right? So, but it's not mandatory, right? Like as I said, in 15 years, I have never used a CRM as a source for my data analytics work because my primarily experience is insurance domain. So all insurance domain has their own custom solution, right? And usually they use the enterprise tools like the data store in DB2 or data store in Oracle and SQL Server. These CRM are generally good for the middle and small scale company, right? Like Joho has a lot more small scale company, right? And SAP has the big company, right? Definitely the even Mercedes and Microsoft is also client of SAP, right? But they have their own analytics and reporting module also, right? If you see the SAP, they have their own module, right? So it's not mandatory, right? Long and short, it's depend on like what is as an analyst, what are the source definitely you need to connect relational database. It could be SQL Server, it could be DB2, it could be any other system, or it could be cloud, whatever that. So definitely you're going to connect and work on the relational database. That's why every data analyst position asks for SQL language because SQL language is common, right? You must need to connect the flat file or CSV file or Excel file because still a lot of the data reside under the CSV and Excel file, right? So these are the compulsory, but CRM is not mandatory. It's depend on that your company use, then you need to connect. All right. So
Thank you.
one thing I saw here, like if you see get connector, right? Here you see all the list of that, right? And if you see the more, and pretty much similar thing you can see in everywhere. Tableau, Looker, Click, whatever you see that, right? And see, this is the way they have organized databases. These are the list of the see, SAP HANA is the database that runs behind the SAP, right? So if your client is using SAP, then you can use this to connect the SAP database. And once you are connected to the database, you are done. Like the rest is your Power BI skill, right? You can clean the data, create the report, you can do the data profiling. Google BigQuery is there. Google BigQuery in Azure is there, right? Snowflake is again getting traction on that. Amazon is there. So see, like, I mean, nowadays as a data analyst, virtually any system you can connect, right? And pretty much every tool provide that. Okay, so the connectivity, and again, as I said, it's a low code. You don't need to write any code. Just select, next, and your data is connected. This is for Azure database and all. Other online services you see like the Microsoft Dynamics, right? That's the CRM you see is listed, right? So you can connect with any like, and these number of lists, Joho is also there. So you can connect with the Joho also, right? So as an analyst, just you need to know how to connect it. That's it. Once the data is connected, rest is depend on how you want to analyze and process your data. All right. So that's why just I saw that like, okay, there are and every day new connector, new system is coming, the new connector is coming, right? Because they know that the if I'm building a system, I have to give a connectivity so that the data analyst can do the data work. Okay, it's clear.
Yes.
So I have compiled few questions and today I'll just go through with those question and answer, and around that we'll keep discussion, right? I thought to do some technical SQL related also, and might be if we'll get some time we'll run through, but it's very important like we all understand what is asked for this question, and these are the once you will join the classroom, every content and every detail is on the Google Classroom. You can access it, right? You can join by link or you can drop an email so I can add you. So you can go from there. What was showing? Let me, so I have just collected, I have given some important link that I saw like is the very good information that it will be helpful. And even on the top of that, I have just compiled 5 or 6 questions that are very common, and pretty much every interview they will ask those questions, right? So, and you have already, if you have already gone through this interview process, you have seen these questions, right? So you can better mentally prepare yourself, like what need to be answered and how you can better organize yourself. And you can think about that and you can practice around that, right? So in the same document, if you go on the Google Classroom, you'll find the job description walkthrough, the one that we used yesterday. And on the in the same list, is it visible enough or should I?
It's
Yeah,
good.
so okay. So these are some technical questions. There are a lot, right? And if you don't have a Power BI experience, don't go here, right? Because first of all, try to get some knowledge and then you can go here, right? If you are going for interview, if you see some common question maybe asked, then it's helpful, right? You can go there. These are the some top SQL questions. So again, if you have already practiced the SQL, then this would be very easy. But if it is a first timer, then all question may be kind of a little bit sounds like you need to repeat yourself or need to read many times on that. And I highlighted this one. These are very, very important. These are not a, these are the very to the point answer, right? Like how many reports are there is will be like this. How many component of the Power BI tiles, report, visuals, it will give you that, right? So because it's a technical question. So it's very black and white answer is there. These are soft skills kind of the question, right? Like they will ask like, okay, tell me about the most complex project that you have worked, right? So there is no any definitive answer, right? What you will answer? It depend on the individuals, depend on the experience, it depend on the your past project experience, right? So, but what you can understand, like if someone will ask that question, how you can approach about that question, what they are looking for, right? Like they will say, like, tell me about yourself, and you must have heard like, hey, I like to watch Salman Khan movie, right? They don't want to know about that, right? Tell me about, say, I like to eat chicken, right? No. So the context is very much contextual, right? So that's where here they have given, and they are a very trusted link, like the Indeed is there, LinkedIn is there, and Coursera is there. So why I have picked these articles only? Because they are known for the kind of the career management and the course management. So they have compiled whatever they have experienced. Based on that, they have come up, right? What are the most common question asked and how you should answer about that. So today primarily we'll go through with those points, and any doubt or anything that you see around that or any experience you want to share, we can go on that way. Does this sound good to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So very first question comes like, tell me about yourself, right? And as you see, like, what about your analysis, your roles, best, they want you to know like how you'll be suitable on that. So you can go around that and primarily you can focus and very much you see like as we saw the yesterday job description, by seeing the job description, you will little bit, I mean, at least you'll get some sense like the where they want you to focus, right? Because they are going to hire you for certain roles, certain gap and skills that they don't have, and that's why they are going to hire you, right? So, and they put in a job description. So although like you might be working on the cleaning, you might be working on the reporting, you might be working on the so many things, but by seeing that, you can compare and you can share your experience based on that, what they are looking for. So that will be the kind of the best match. And
Madhukar,
yeah,
one question.
hmm.
Is that job descriptions comes under financial domain or which domain it is?
Job description means
Last.
I mean, like, yeah, it's
this
what?
one.
Yes.
Yeah, so here, yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, data analyst, like wherever is the data, you need a data analyst, right? But this is skill set is primarily the domain you can call is the financial domain, right? Because they are talking about the platform of the financial solution, right? If it would be insurance, then they will tell you like the this is the insurance solution, right? So definitely this profile is for the financial domain, right?
Okay.
And if the same thing, like the lot of things will be the same, only the domain will change, then you can see like the insurance, right? So, or they will use like the banking, right? Or whatever is that, right? So definitely, yeah, this profile is for financial domain. So domain matters, right? Because if you have a domain understanding, and there are a lot of the book around domain, right? So like the one common thing, like we say, like, oh, until we'll not work on the domain, we'll not get exposure. No, there are thousands of books, good books that will talk about what are the terms that are used on that domain, like if you see insurance and policy claim, and what those departments are, how they works, what data they collect. So same thing you can find in a books, right? So the best way to get some understanding, like when you go there, it will not look like, oh, what they are talking about, alien language. So definitely read some domains books, and I recommend some domain books for financial system and the insurance system, healthcare system. So by reading that book and going through will give you some common understanding. So when they talk in the business language, you will able to connect like what they are talking about, right? So, but I mean, don't worry about that for right now. In a month, 2 months, 3 months, you will get there, right? So, but yeah, I'll recommend some book that you can read to get knowledge on domain knowledge and domain. There are so many certification also, right? So as an analyst, it's important. You can get the domain knowledge on job, or you can get through the articles or books. So here is that. This is interesting tool, right? And this is an interesting question, like what tools have you used, right? They do have a preference. Like I want a data analyst who has worked on the Oracle or SAP or any database. Most of the time you see like any database and any tool. So this is also very important what you know. And I'll say like even you have seen that demo, like yesterday you saw the Power BI, you all guys can clearly say like, yeah, I have an exposure of the Power BI, and if I need to work, I will work on that. Okay. Even that little exposure itself is a good enough, because when you got in a job, you get enough time to work on that, right? So keep it open, right? And keep it open for like you can learn, and pretty much they are in the same size, right? I mean, definitely it's a deep level. You need to learn a lot, but even little exposure, don't hesitate. Like, don't consider yourself like you don't know anything, right? Just say like, yeah, I know that, I have exposure of that, I have got the training, and I can work it on, right? So that way you can go, and if you see like you can read through, right? So that's why these are details you can read through, and if any follow-up question will come, we can go on that detail. So this is the Coursera things, and they have given a very good one, right? Like you see, like there are different parallel tools, so it's not possible for one human being to get expert in all that tools, because whenever you go for the interview, every job will have different tool. Pretty much every, believe me, if you search the 10 data analyst position, all 10 will ask different tool. So does it mean you need to go and learn all 10 tools? No, just pick one tool that's most popular.
Got it.
Yeah, Ankit, tell me. You're saying something?
No.
All right. So you can interrupt me anytime, right? Because that will be better to two-way communication, right? Don't park your question. Anything come in mind, just interrupt me, so that otherwise you lost that, right? What you were supposed to ask, right? So anytime you feel anything need to be asked, just ask, right? So that's why these are some parallel tools. Try to pick your lane and get expertise on one tool first, right? Or not expertise in the sense like at least the good understanding, like you can work independently on that tool, right? And that you can decide based on the how many jobs opening on that tool, what kind of the jobs is coming for you. But pick one tool and get expertise, and then go on the second and third exposure. Just get exposure on that, right? So and these are the, as of now, 10 or 5 years down the line, you'll see the number of new tools has been added, because Looker was not popular 5 years back. Tableau was there for 10, 15 years. Power BI was there for 5, 10 years, right? But the new tools keep adding, right? With the more power and more easy to use. So the key take on is that don't hesitate. If even you see that, you say like, yeah, I know the training, I have seen some video, I have done some hands-on, and if I get a chance, I will work, right? That should be your attitude on the towards the tools. Get expertise in one tool, and then you'll be fine. SQL is very, very common. Everywhere you use the SQL. So the first focus should be on SQL. You should be 100% confident enough to write SQL independently. And you understand, like if I give you an SQL, you should be able to interpret what could be the outcome of this, what this SQL is telling, what is going to do. So that level of expertise is very, very important, no matter what tool you're going to use in the future or which platform you're going to work. So focus on SQL to understand, just plain SQL, not the TSQL, PLSQL, nothing, just the plain SQL, how it works. That's very, very important, right? Believe me,
Madhukar, I have
yeah,
a question. Yeah,
yeah.
that's where I'm lagging very behind. It's like SQL. I can say that basic things I'm able to do to create a query, select something, and do it joint using simple things. I'm good. I'm not able
Hmm.
to step forward and go forward. So, what can I do for that? Do you think
So,
that that's where I'm lagging, and
okay,
that's where I'm just losing my
okay,
interviews?
don't worry. Let me ask you this question. Out of the 10, what's your rating? How you rate yourself out of 10? SQL. SQL.
Uh, SQL, it's definitely 4.
Man, see, that's where you are lacking. See, these tools and language are very contextual, right? You are applying for the 3 years experience. If somebody asked to me, what's my understanding as an architect for SQL, my answer will be different and the expectation will be different for SQL, right? So as a data analyst, you need to know just basic SQL, select, group by, where. That's all. You do not need to be an expert. So based on your understanding, if you know the basic SQL and you are confident to write SQL query, I'll rate myself 8, not 4.
Okay.
It's very contextual. As per your role, you just need to know basic SQL. Select, join, where, group by. That's all. So if you know that, I mean, 10 of 10 is would be high. This like 10 of 10 is means you are the godfather of SQL, but 7-8, don't hesitate, give 7-8 because that's what is expected. If you know basic,
Okay.
if you just know select, then give 4 or 5. Okay,
Oh, okay.
because see, they just wanted to
You
see your
said
confidence.
select, and what are those things you said? Can you please tell me? Select.
Select, definitely select and table, you'll use that. Then join and group by. Lot of the times you'll use the aggregate function and group by. As an analyst, you need to do data profiling where you use the aggregate function and group by. You need to be very good and confidence and the join. Okay,
Okay.
join, group by, and select. That's all. If you are confident to do that, you do not need to do anything else. And rate yourself 7 and 8, right? Anybody will ask as a data analyst with 3-year experience, what's your out of the 10? 7, 8, not less than that. And if somebody say like you don't know SQL procedure and function, then you say like I don't need to know that, right? Because what I need to do is a data profiling. And when I need to do data profiling, sum, average, group by, join, null, not null is more than enough, right? So that should be your attitude, okay?
Okay.
And
Sure.
that's the only needed, nothing more than that. But if this will be for the any programmer, then they need to know a lot more about it. If this is for the DBA job, then just select is nothing. If they know just basic select query, they are 0 as a DBA. But you're not applying for DBA. You're not applying for the TSQL programmer, right? I think
Yes.
is it
Got it.
understood to everybody, right? Is very important, right? Show your confidence, right? Because 99% chance they will talk 1,000 things, and when you go to work, it will be just 5 things, right? So same thing. Any exposure you have, just say it. Be confident. Say like 7, 6, 8, 10. No less than 7 or 6, right? 7, no less than 7. That's your thumb rule. If someone will ask Ankit, score yourself in a Power BI, just say 7, right? Because you saw that how Power BI works, right? And if you got the opportunity to work 8 hours, you can do it. Simple. And you can learn it, right? So just say 7, okay? So this is also very popular question. They ask like what is the largest data set have you ever worked? And why it is important? When the data size grows, a lot more problems happen, right? So that's why this question is very important. And this depend on that. Also, you can select the variety of data that you have worked, right? Usually and I think Pravina has explained that, usually in a cloud storage, the data is massive in size, millions of records with the thousands of column value because data is flat structure. In RDBMS also, if you have like you are working in an insurance company, they have the 100 years of the data. Even if you're working in a financial organization, they do the millions of transactions every day, right? So there are massive data. In terms of the cloud connectivity goes massive. In a database size, it can also go massive. You can say like I have worked with the if it's cloud comes to cloud, you can say like I can work the gigabyte of the data. If it comes to RDBMS, you can say like the yeah, it's a pretty decent with the millions of records, and that goes to your depending on the your domain also, right? So millions of records have worked and gigabyte of data. That would be your and other important part is the variety of data. They also want to know like what is the variety of data that you have worked, right? So the most common data set that you work is the RDBMS system, flat file and CSV, Excel data, and cloud data. Cloud data or big data is the same thing. You can call it big data. That's a different topic we can discuss, but understand that the big data is nothing but the flat file, right? It's a flat structure on cloud, right? And usually they are in a big in size. Number of column is high. Columns, thousands plus, right? And number of rows is high. Millions, right? So that's why they call the big data. By structure, they are just a flat CSV file, right? There is a column and then there is a data. Only the difference between flat file CSV file and the big data is that these are on cloud and they have millions of rows and thousands of columns. Okay.
Why CSV file and Excel files are called as flat files? Any reason?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, flat files, right? Because there is no technology, nothing is there. Just it's a when say that the flat file, this is started like the RDBMS is the structural, right? Like you see, like the table is splitted based on the normalization. Like your address itself to store in the RDBMS system, you need a 10 table. One for country, one for a state, one for city, one for your mobile email and all that details, right? At least 5 or 10 table is needed to store your address. But if you need to store address, how do you write address? Just it's a flat, right? You put like the 205 Columbia, South Carolina 29229. That's it, right? So that's why the term is started using as a flat because there is no concept of the normalization and multiple table. Every data will be in a single set, in a single screen, right? Or in a single way, right? So, I mean, that's you can correlate. That's why it's called the flat because everything is just straightforward, nothing on that, right?
You mean in address, we have the data types called numbers, we have the special characters as well as the alphabets and everything. So why it's called a flat file?
No,
So
no,
they are
not
able
not
to
that,
have
not that. Like if you write the address 205 and if you like that the Columbia, right? And then you'll put the SC and then you put like 29229 and if we put the US, right? That's your address, right? So that's the way you write address, right? If somebody likes like give me address, you like this, right? You'll change the address, second address will come, and then that will be the 305, right? So it's a straightforward and flat, right? That's the way you usually human writes the address and store the address. But if the same address need to store into system, RDBMS system specifically, that was quite popular at some point, then this information will go to your state table, right? So you will create a table called state, and that have all the list of the state like SC, NC, whatever is that, right? So this will only store the information of the state. Okay. Then you need a second table that's called the country. And in the country table, you will only store the information about the country, right? So this will give you the list. And why is important is storing in this? Because you are creating an application and you are going to give a drop down to the user, then you need a distinct value. If you are creating a country as a table, then this table will not have a duplicate country name. It will only hold all the list of the country, right? If you are creating a table state, that will only hold the list of the state, right? So that way you design your system. Same goes for the city. And then you will create an address table that will hold all the information, right? Like your first line of the address, line 1, line 2, and then you'll create the mobile number if you want to store it, or you want to then you'll use the state ID. I mean, it's an interesting topic. We'll discuss in detail how you design the data. But as you ask, so see
Yeah,
now.
I got it. So it's so clear. Just by the video, we can see like that. So
Right. So see, now you
got it.
created
Thanks.
3 tables. So in compared to these 3 tables, you can see like this is the flat, right? Because everything is in one place, right?
Yes,
So
got it. Yeah, I understand.
right. So that's the only thing. And in every data in a program, because see, when we create this data, and that's my very interesting topic, and I think everyone should know that. In later on our session, we'll see like how you design your table, how to convert flat structure into this structure. This is also in a database. If you are storing this data, this is called the. Have you heard the normalization? This is called the first normalization form. In the first normalization form, everything will be stored in a flat structure. But this is not very good for system because there are repetition of the data. And if you are changing the data, that will create the problem, right? Because if suppose that SC, you want to change to the SC to South Carolina, right? South Carolina, right? If you are storing in this way, then at one place you can change the South Carolina and everywhere address will be changed from SC to South Carolina, right? But if you are storing in a flat structure into database, then every SC need to be changed. So that's the reason in a database programmatically we store the data in a normalization form, third normal form. But when we do the reporting, we store the data in a flat structure because generally we don't change the data in a warehouse. We just create a new entry, right? So what will be happen next time if the address has been changed and you are processing this data, then the next record will come with the same address and South Carolina. So this will be your next record. And because this record has been expired, so either you see the V1, the version number will be there, and this will be the V2, or most likely what you'll see the expiration date, like when this record has been changed. So whatever the date this record has been changed, you see like, okay, Jan 2023, this was active. And after that, May 2023, this was the active. So you will expire the old record and you will add a new record. So if somebody is looking as of current, you see like this is my current address. Okay. So this is these things we will learn in detail during our OLAP and OLTP modeling and how the flat structure dimension, facts, measures, and those things, those concepts, during those concepts, we'll learn in detail, right? So it's a very good question, right? All right, so moving forward, best practice, right, for the data cleaning. So this is also important, right? You need to know like what are the steps you need to follow for data cleaning, right? So very first step, can anybody guess what should be the very first step? Say it
We have
louder.
to
Connect the data.
Yeah, connect to the data, right?
Okay.
Because if you're not connecting to the data, then how you do the profiling and cleaning, right? So yeah, and before to connecting, you need to understand the requirement other part on that, right? So the cleaning and all those things come on that. The other thing they are talking about, missing data and outlier, because data profiling, you will only see that the your data is fit for the purpose or not. And that's why you see look for the null value, you see for the missing data or liar, or like as I said, like you're expecting male and female M and F, but there is a zero, a known, -1, then those are garbage, right? You need to correct that, right? If you have a mobile number and you are saying like the one mobile number is a 20 character. What is that? It's garbage, right? So those things you need to ruled out, right? So you can see the duplicate also. Duplicate data is also a big problem, right? Because some reason data is repeating, right? So if the data is repeating, my salary is 5,000 and it's duplicate, then it will tell you like the $10,000, right? So that's not good, right? It's good for me, but not good for company, right? So you don't want to report duplicate data, right? So these are very small things, but that matters most, and that's why they are saying like the okay, your answer will be like the missing data, like null value and all that, or duplicate data. You'll clear that out, and that's why they ask for the cleaning the duplicate data. How you'll do that through the Python, through the SQL query, or through the your tool. Data coming from different source, then you need to make it in one structure. A structural error is more about the data type issue, right? If suppose that date of birth is supposed to be used the date and time, but is coming as a character. So on that case, your system will reject that. Even Power BI will not accept it, right? Until it's not a character. So if you are defining a data type as a number, it is expecting as a number, right? So if you try to ABC in a number, it will throw error, and Power BI will also throw error, SQL Server will also throw error. So that's the structural problem. So you need to isolate those records and send it to the end user. Hey, this is not a right date of birth. This is not the right number. Can you correct it? Right? So they need to fix it. And anybody want to say what is outlier in the data analytics world?
If some of the data switches beyond the limits, and if it's a little more away from our
Out of the group,
Yeah.
right?
Like somebody age is the 500.
Yeah.
You are analyzing the age. Age is good if it is between the 1 to 100,
It's a range,
right? But if it's going on the 500 is a age or -3, you see like these are the outlier data, right? Not correct, right?
It's
Yeah, so your line, any deviation from the your baseline will be considered outlier, and you can. So whenever you see the outlier in your data set, you need to in. It could be possible, right? Might be so right number, right? But whenever you see outlier, go in detail and try to establish is it really true number or something mistake. Like somebody might be average person is getting $100,000, but somebody got the 500 million lottery, right? So it will be way above that the average earning, right? But might be he got the lottery. So it's a right use case. So you cannot delete that. So whenever you see outlier, go and find the root cause and see that is it legitimate data or is a mistake. Very good. So I got the very explained brilliant class. So okay. So, and these are talking about the most complex project that you run through, right? So how you will approach about that and any challenges that you come through, and mostly challenges data related, processing related. If you are processing big data file, the processing time would be the problem and all other things, and what role you played and all those things. So you can read through, right? And if you see any specific thing that you're not understanding, you can anytime we can discuss on that. This is also very important as a data analyst because even for me it's a challenging, right? Why it's challenging? Because we are so technical. We talk in terms of the table and column and where condition and join condition, and whoever is the end user, they don't understand that because they do not need to know SQL query or the join and table. They even don't need to know what is the name of the table. You can call it alien or Elon Musk. They don't care about that, right? What they care about their data. If they want their financial report, if they want their iteration report, if they want anything, that data should be presented. That's why it's very important. Like whatever data finding you are doing, like in case of the example, you find the age is outlier at the 500, then you need to talk in terms of like, I mean, how could it be possible someone can live 500 a year? Can you take a look on that, right? If you are finding like the one claim is coming for the $500 million, then you can communicate that in a business term, right? That's where it's important. Like try to avoid technical term, table, column. It's very hard. I know it's very hard to avoid that, but try to explain as simple as non-technical word possible. Like what is the impact of that data problem, right? So talk in that way. So business can easily understand and they can tell you this is does not matter for me. So just ignore it or filter it out. So, but that's where it's very important. Like And I think somewhere they have given very good things like uh, uh, pick your friend, pick your father, pick your husband, and explain about the data. And if he can understand, then anyone can understand, right? So that will give you the practice like how you can talk about data, right? So if you are building any report and visuals, just explain to somebody, right, who don't know technology, right, and see that whether he can able to understand your story or not. Because as an analyst, as a good analyst, your role is to tell a story, give the matrix so the person can take decision the easiest way possible, right? So practice around that, right? And see how good you are on that without using the technical term, whether he's able to understand or not. So yeah, I think that's all over here. Not much on that. Oh, this is also important part, right? And couple of minutes I'll take it over here. And the importance of this is like whenever they assign you a task, they may ask like when you are going to complete this, right? So it's very, very difficult to estimate when you are going to complete this, but you need to give some number. So how you can approach about those numbers? So as I said, what type of data you need to process, where you will find the data, is it known data or unknown data? Because if you are working with the unknown data that you have never worked, it means you need to do the data profiling, you need to understand the data structure, right? That will take some time, right? So based on whenever the requests come, you can start visualizing like what are the activity you need to do for that, right? Is this request for the existing record that I have already in a system and just I need to report that? Then you know the data is easy. But the data request is something completely unknown. It means first of all you need to find someone and some document to know where this data is, right? And then you need to connect the data, profile the data, then build the report. So in end to end is going to take much time, right? So based on that, you estimate, and whatever you feel is right time, just have some contingency on that, because usually you won't get the 100% focus time. So send that, and if it will be too high, then definitely business will come back and ask you like, no, I was expecting this Friday need to be done. Then you can see like, can I get some additional hand who can work on the data, or can I someone help me to get the data, right? Because if you'll try to do everything from scratch, it will take time, right? So that way, free to communicate and send some number, but you need to send some number. So that's where you can approach about depending on the complexity, depending on the whether you know it or not, or what level of your involvement or activity would be needed over there. So based on that, you can come up with some bulk number, or you can share with your stakeholders. All right. So other details are very good on that. You can, whenever you guys have time, go through with those links that I have attached on this document and read through all the soft skills, all the, don't go on the technical side yet. I'll say like just avoid the first technical links, right? The reason being because if you don't have practice, then it will be, everything will be very difficult. But these soft skills, anytime, keep repeating, keep reading these, what they are talking about, and try to explain. As is like, okay, what are the most complex project you have worked on, right? Come up with a story that you are going to tell to your recruiter, right? And see like what are the guidelines they are giving, how to approach about that answer, and what interviewer is wanted to understand from that question, right? What they are wanted to hear from you, right? So I think that's all for today, and all these things will in the next month or kind of, I'm planning to around 15 to 20 session to give you understanding about this entire process. And then I'm expecting, or I have a strong belief like out of after completion of those 26 sessions, you guys will be confident enough to kind of do hands-on and practice or do yourself. Yeah, yeah, Divya, please.
Sorry to interrupt. I just have only one question right now. It's like, can you please give me one more example for the root cause analysis related to the financial domain or something?
Okay, so I just say like the primarily the root cause is associated with the bugs, right? So bugs means like something is not working as expected, right? So in a financial domain, you have presented a report where you are saying that the loss and profit of the company, right, or something, right, by a state, right? That's your report, right? And one thing, believe me, business users are so sharp. I mean, for us, every report and data looks same, but when you send those report to business user, because they live and breathe every day, they know that the how much business they are doing in Florida, how much business they are doing in South Carolina. As soon as they see the report, they can spot that there is something wrong, right? So they don't know what's wrong, right? So what they will do, they will highlight your report and send you back and ask you like, Divya, this number does not looks good. Can you take a look why this is coming and this negative or high, right? So why is saying that the loss is the 5 million, but as I know, the loss is only for 3 million, right? So usually end user will pinpoint, give you the problem statement, what they are seeing as a problem in your report, right? Because what they are seeing is a report. Once you receive that report, then you need to do the root cause analysis. What does it means? Like you need to backtrack from your visuals that's showing like the Florida is a 4 million loss, then you need to see like the where this 4 million is coming from. This is coming from some data, right? So you go on that table, you go on that CSV file and see like the what data is coming. And if there is also 4 million, then you go to the system that is generating that data, like if it is a CRM system or any database or any other department is sending that data, then you'll contact to that guy. Hey, can you see this? Why Florida is 4 million? Can you prove me like this data is correct, right? And that's where you need to establish, like, because if you're getting a CSV file, take an example like finance department is sending you a CSV file that you are using as a source for your report. You build your report based on that CSV file and present it to the end user. But the end user is saying like it should be 2 million, it should not be 5 million. But your CSV file is still saying it's of 5 million. So what does it mean? That CSV has a wrong data or right data? It could be both. So you need to connect in this case, whoever is sending the CSV file, a department or a person, and ask that, can you please validate this Florida data? Is it 5 million or not? He may come, data is wrong, I'll send you a new CSV file, or he may say like data is right, this is a 5 million, here is my evidence. The same evidence you can pass on to the end user, and if they are saying like data is wrong, they are giving a new CSV file, then just consume the new CSV file and refresh your model. You see the 2 million now and send it to the end user, right? So this entire process is known as the root cause analysis, finding the problem, why it is wrong. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And depending on the complexity of the system, it's a very straightforward. But sometimes myself also, if I look for that, the so complex system are there are 10, 15 connecting point. So if there is a 10, 15 point, like you are moving one from other, like you see that the gift inside box, box inside box, right? So and usually in an enterprise, you see the systems are so complex that gone through with the multiple layers. So you need to investigate every layer to see like the where data is wrong, right? So um, it may take some time, or it may depending on the complexity of your system. So, but this entire process is the root cause analysis, and as an analyst, you need to do this root cause analysis time to time. All right, so that's
Thank you.
all for today. And you guys can send me email. I think Divya, I have added you, but you have received that. It's still not in a class, or I'll share the Google Class link on a group so that you guys can join from there. And once you join that, then you'll get the access of all. I think you will be able to see all these things, right? And you can go from there, right?
Actually, I'm not able to see when I clicked on the Google class, I'm not able to see your
I think you have not
say
yet
class.
accepted. See here, your
Oh,
invitation
really?
is still in a pending. So